Oh, finally home after a busy day. I gotta stop wearing sweaters this time of year. But I just like having sleeves. Fall's around the corner, doesn't really matter. Oh, I did not leave the lights on before I left. What's going on here? What is that? Is that a cookie? Oh, well, is it my cheat day? Every day is a cheat day. I'll take this. Oh, I'm a cookie fiend. Oh, wait a minute. There's more. What's this? Huh? Luigi's Mansion for GameCube. Oh, I remember this game. It's a fun game, but I don't own this game anymore. I foolishly traded this in like 15 years ago, and I never got it back. It's expensive now. How did this get here? Cookie, game. It's gotta be Bob. Maybe he's back from vacation. He's got a little gift for me or something. That's a nice gesture, I suppose. He knows I have a penchant for sweets. But, I just got home from my other job. It's late. Kinda wanna go to bed. Too late to get into this kind of big thing here. Another time, perhaps. I'm gonna go to bed for now. Time to settle down for the evening. Well, before I go to bed, though, I should thank Bob for the stuff. Let's see. Thanks for the cookie. Had no idea you were back. How much did you pay for that? What do you mean, what am I talking about? The cookie. The game. Still in your cruise. Well then who... What was that? What the heck was that noise? Oh, no. Oh, jeez, where is it? Okay. Things are getting weirder. Where the heck's the light switch? Oh, there it is. Come on. Come on. Oh, are you kidding me? Oh, jeez. Was that knocking? Oh, lights aren't working. It's weird noises. I mean, it could all be a coincidence. Maybe it's a visitor. I don't want to turn away somebody. I mean, I'm a nice guy. Okay, let's push forward. This feels like a horrible idea, but what else am I doing tonight? This is a bad idea, but I don't know what else I'm supposed to do in this situation. Take it head on. Time to be a man. Here we go. Not a solicitor. Don't know what to do. I locked the door, though. I mean, I gotta be safe, right? What was that? Oh, I gotta get everything locked down. All right. Wait. What do you want? What are you here for? Why are you giving me cookies? Luigi's Mansion. Of course. I should have known. Fine. I'll talk about the game. Not like I have much of a choice. Oh, alright. Wasn't planning on talking about this tonight, but under the circumstances, Luigi's Mansion is one of the first games I ever played for GameCube, and I foolishly traded it in a long time ago, so I'm looking forward to playing it again. Do you mind? I'm trying to, like, you wanted me to do this. I gotta do it my way, though. I can't, this is the, alright. Where was I? So, yeah, one of the first games I ever had for the GameCube, so it's very nostalgic, but it's been a super long time since I played it, so I have some vague memories, but it isn't all complete. So I'm looking forward to diving back in and seeing how it holds up after all this time has passed. Let's get started. Luigi's Mansion was one of the GameCube's launch titles when the console first got released. It was also one of the first games that I ever owned for the GameCube, along with Super Mario Sunshine. Definitely makes it one of the big nostalgia points for me, because that's one of my first GameCube experiences. Luigi's Mansion is a pretty unique game. It definitely defies expectation for what you'd think when you think of a Nintendo game, at least in the Mario Brothers universe. Super Mario Sunshine was also kind of an experiment in itself, departing from the usual platforming experience that Mario 64 offered and augmenting it with the water jetpack, just like Luigi's Mansion is something totally new and unique, which is really awesome. They released a new game console and they released some truly original content for it when it came out. As the name implies, this game puts Luigi in the protagonist role for the first time since those really awfully designed educational games from the 90s. So it's good to see him get a serious protagonistic role here. But we have to take Luigi through a haunted mansion, capturing ghosts, illuminating rooms, all to rescue his brother from the clutches of King Boo. The game has excellent atmosphere. Its music kind of reminds me of what they did in Banjo-Kazooie, where you'll have like a main overture theme playing, but then when the environment changes, the music also changes. It'll go from playing this kind of menacing over theme. When you enter a room with ghosts in it, the music dies down. Instead, ghosts are kind of like humming the song in the background. It's pretty sweet. I wouldn't say that the game is really scary, though. It has great atmosphere. It tries to scare you with how the ghosts will appear. They kind of like woo woo woo, like they kind of appear really quickly. It makes Luigi jump. I guess if you weren't expecting it, it might make you jump the first couple times it happens, but you definitely get used to it. So I wouldn't say that it's like scary. And I remember that as a kid too. It never really scared me, but I've always appreciated its atmosphere. I think it does a great job of creating a sense of spooky, haunted house, cold vibe. It's very well done, for sure. The story begins with Luigi on his way to a mansion that he apparently won in some kind of contest, that he didn't even enter, by the way. Not the picturesque dream home, looks pretty intimidating, but Luigi decides to brave ahead anyway. Mario apparently was racing him to get here first to celebrate his victory. So here we go. Luigi enters the mansion, and the game begins. So with the basics established, we can start the game here. Starts you off in a room. Luigi is kind of on his own. We can mess around with the controls a bit. The A button has Luigi call out to Mario. This doesn't serve really any gameplay function, which is kind of a shame. It's just what happens when you press the A button. But if you press the A button next to an object, Luigi will interact with it. And this is kind of how you test things for secrets. which I'll get to explaining the value of that in a minute here. But then the B button controls our flashlight. We can turn it off and on with the B button. That's going to be an important mechanic for ghost hunting. But looking around this room, there's not much we can do. It's only until you try to open up the top door that we get our first look into the haunting that bewitches this mansion. So this apparition drops a key. This is one of the biggest gameplay elements of Luigi's Mansion, which is getting keys. As you explore the mansion, you're going to find locked rooms. You have to clear certain rooms to earn keys to then unlock the next room. It kind of works in a sequence. It's actually more linear than you think it is, which is kind of a bummer in retrospect. But we get our first key and we can now unlock the room upstairs. Which, by the way, if I saw a ghost drop a key like that, the first thing I would do is just leave this mansion. There's no way that I'm going to be taking that kind of bait. But we don't have a choice for this game. As we enter this mysterious, locked room, we get a nice little cutscene that advances the story some. I don't think Luigi's moving here, by the way. I think it's just clever camera work. Either way, Luigi is predictably ambushed by a ghost. I mean, it like baited him up there with the key. But he is saved by a new character for the Mario Universe franchise. This is Professor Egad. How creative. He's a aging but veteran ghost hunter who uses a vacuum to catch ghosts. So Ghostbusters had an unlicensed nuclear accelerator. This guy has a powerful vacuum. So it's a cute little riff on the formula, I suppose. He introduces himself to Luigi, and the two retreat back to Professor Egad's laboratory. Upon retreating back to Professor Egad's lab, we get some more details about the mansion and Mario's whereabouts. Professor Egad notes that the mansion just sporadically appeared recently, so it's definitely a trap set by ghosts, and Mario had ventured in before Luigi arrived and is now missing. Professor Egad gives Luigi the ghost vacuum, effectively passing the mantle of Ghost Hunter from himself to his new protege. And this is where we can now start to mess around with the real way the game is played, the ghost hunting mechanic. Messing around with the tutorial is where I start to try to figure out how I can best label what kind of game this is. Is it an action game? Is it an adventure game? Is it an open world exploration game? Is it a fishing game? Yes, to pretty much all that. It's a ghost hunting game. And to me, that kind of translates as fishing, if I was going to give it some kind of raw genre assignment. But this is where, like, I don't completely understand how you're supposed to catch the ghosts. So it's all about, like, tilting the control stick in a direction to wrangle them. You want to pull pretty much in the opposite direction of the ghosts. I'm not sure if the C-stick is part of it, so like I feel like the tutorial just wants me to move the stick a little bit and just kind of push and pull and give and take. But I'm always just like messing around like a maniac trying to catch the ghosts. I don't know if that's correct or not, but it seems to work. But the gameplay is pretty simple. You just basically surprise a ghost with the flashlight by turning it on right in their face. That reveals their heart, and you can then engage the vacuum and start to catch the ghosts. I wonder if that'll... Let's try something here. Well, that didn't go according to plan. Then again, what did I expect? Okay, moving on. Alright, we venture back into the mansion, now armed with the ghost hunting vacuum. We can now turn the tables on those pesky poltergeists. We start off in what's referred to as Area 1, which is the upper floor where Luigi first ventured into when he was attacked. But now we can turn the tables on these ghosts. Area 1 is very simple. It's kind of like a tutorial area, getting you used to the concepts and controls. We're just moving room to room, catching the ghosts as we go, but things start to change up once we get into the second half of this area. The first half of Area 1 is very easy. It's just a straight path. You're just learning the basics. It's in tutorial mode, essentially. Enter the room, clear it, get the key, move forward. The second half of Area 1 is where things get a lot more interesting. This is where the game introduces the portrait ghosts. The whole idea of this is that Professor Egad, an accomplished ghost hunter and researcher, had a collection of captured ghosts that were stored in the form of paintings. They all got released by King Boo and his band, and they are running around the mansion. You'll find them in many of the rooms. The portrait ghosts don't work like normal ghosts. You can't just simply flash the light and then capture them. Rather, specific little conditions have to be met for the portrait ghosts to reveal their heart, which then makes them vulnerable. It's like little micro puzzles, basically. You can use the Game Boy Horror device to scan them and get like a clue as to how to reveal their heart. Sometimes they're clues, sometimes they're not, though. Sometimes it's just like the ghost is saying, "Oh, who's this guy in the room with me right now?" Other times it just literally tells you what to do. It just depends. But solve the little micro puzzle, get them to reveal their heart, and then you can capture them. All of the portrait ghosts always have 100 HP, which puts them well above and beyond any of the normal ghosts that you've been encountering so far in the game. So there we go. Some of them are optional too. The optional ones will give you treasure, the required ones give you keys to get to the other parts of the mansion. But the portrait ghosts are some of the highlights because these are the unique encounters that you have. They definitely spice up the gameplay and keep it from being too monotonous with you just capturing regular ghosts. Aside from ghost hunting, the other big part of this game is something you might not expect, and that's collecting treasure. Interacting with objects within rooms will reveal treasure. Coins, bills, gemstones, all can be collected and accumulate a high score, which determines one little minor factor in the game's ending. But you want to, it's fun. It's fun to collect. It feels good. I gotta say, I feel motivated to get as much as possible. Because it's an interesting little mechanic, because high scores haven't been something that people really care about in games for a long time. For me, I feel like the idea of a high score like mattering died with the arcades. So for this game to have what is essentially just a high score mechanic but make it feel fun is really cool. The portrait ghosts that you wind up catching will also reveal a unique kind of treasure called pearls. So there's treasure to be had all over the place, and some of it's hidden. There are a couple different secret treasure rooms that you can find, and there are even treasure ghosts that are hidden in certain rooms, and they get revealed when you interact with the right object. You can catch them, and they just like explode with all kinds of goodies when you successfully capture them. But they're very quick. You have to have lightning reflexes to catch them, which makes it feel even more rewarding. So I do like the treasure mechanic, and that has continued in the Luigi's Mansion franchise since. Every game has that, which is really awesome. Now we're up to the first boss fight, which is against this ghost baby. And I gotta say, it's boring. It's just boring. This boss fight's too easy. You can pretty much just stand still for most of it. It sucks. To be completely frank, a bit of a disappointment. He just kind of like messes around and has rocking chairs fly at you, rocking horses, whatever. It's bouncy balls. You get the bouncy ball and you hit him with it, and then you can suck him up. You can do it in like 2 or 3 phases, but it's boring. Not a good start to the boss fights. The good news is the rest of them in the game are a lot better. This one's just not that great. But there we go. We beat the first boss. We get the boss key. The boss key will give us access to the next area of the mansion. But before we do that, we get to see what happens to the portrait ghosts that we've captured so far. Egad is going to convert the ghosts back into paintings again. it looks horrifying and a torturous process to go through, and I can understand why these ghosts wanted to be freed, because that looks awful. But there we go. After you beat a boss, you get kind of a summary of what you did in the game so far. We get to see the ghosts we've captured, we get to see the treasure we've collected. It's kind of like a high score. You get the whole summary, and then we can move on. Area 2 opens things up considerably. It's not as on the path as Area 1 is. We can explore a little more widely, which I really like. This is where the game really starts to get going. We kind of have our formula in place: explore rooms, catch the ghosts, get the keys. But Area 2 just takes that and makes it harder. We get more portrait ghosts, and the methods for capturing them are definitely more complicated than Area 1. There's a lot of different little conditions that need to be met for some of these. And this is the first area to introduce optional portrait ghosts. Not all of them are required. Some will reward you with treasure, others reward you with keys. This area has the first optional portrait ghost, Mr. Lugs, which is a big, fat miser ghost. But you don't have to catch them. Of course you want to. It's part of the game to catch ghosts. But it's neat that some of them are optional. It adds to the exploration element because, you know, not everything is an immediate obstacle to overcome. There are optional objectives. We get to this room here after going through this ballroom. I got stuck here as a kid. I remember this very vividly. I didn't know what to do. I get in this room, I caught the ghost, the lights came on, and I'm just kind of like, what now? I feel like I'm at a dead end. There's nowhere else to explore. Something's got to be here. Well, it's plain as day if you just pay attention. You can see in the mirror that there's a button you can press. Press the button and the room extends. Now that the room is extended, we can pull this poster off the wall, and there's a big old button on the wall. You probably should press that. It's a haunted, spooky mansion full of ghosts. Big red button with the boo poster on it. Let's press it. So pressing the button has awoken the boos. The boos are from, like, preceding Mario Brothers games. I want to say that Mario Bros. 3 was the first game to introduce them. But Super Mario World is where, like, they're really known for. But here they are, so it's kind of cool to see them get a 3D adaptation that's true to their original design. Mario Sunshine did something a little different with them that I'm not really that much of a fan of, but this is more true to form. So here's our plot. So we got King Boo. He's running the mansion. Now the game really shifts here. So now we've got a new element in the formula. Before, we're catching ghosts to illuminate rooms, get keys, go to the next room, rinse and repeat until you get to the boss. Now there's a new portion. When you clear a room and the lights turn on, there's a boo hiding somewhere. You have to interact with the right piece of furniture to force the boo out and then catch him. Catching boos is a little different than catching the regular ghosts. You don't, like, lock onto them. They're not, like, on your fishing line as you're pulling them in. Rather, you kind of have to keep aimed at them. So it's a combination of using the control stick to move laterally and the C stick to control where you're aiming. So now we can start really catching boos. This is where you start to go from ghost hunter to more like an exterminator. These things are like pests. They can be really annoying when you go to catch them. What are you doing with that? Take that off. Give it. Give it. Get. Unbelievable. Area 2 also introduces the element expulsion system. We acquire the fire element medallion in one of the rooms in Area 2, and we can use this to capture little unique fire spirits that allow the Poltergust 3000 to become a flamethrower, which you can use to interact with objects like, say, lighting candles, or using it to force certain elemental ghosts to reveal their hearts to you. like an ice ghost, for example. Fire on ice makes a target revealed. We also get the water element shortly thereafter. Water allows you to douse flames and again affect fire ghosts to reveal puzzles. Water also lets you water plants though. You can water certain plants to get treasure. There's also a unique plant that you can water in between every act in the game, and it ends with it giving you a huge treasure trove bonus. I never knew that as a kid, so passing on the word now to anyone that wants to play the game in present day, water this plant every chance you get. We now find ourselves up to the Area 2 boss, Bogmire. This boss fight is a lot better than the first one. It's the same level of complexity. It's a very simple boss fight, but just the way that it's executed makes it way more interesting and fun. Bogmire appears, he casts a shadow, and out of the tip of his shadow grows a little ooze clone of himself. You can suck up the ooze clone, but it won't get sucked into the vacuum. Rather, it kind of blocks it. You can then hold it and then shoot it at Bogmire to coat him in his own sludge, which makes him vulnerable, and you can now attempt to capture him. You cannot do it very easily, though. He fights it really hard. You can wrangle him, but I never wrangled him for more than like 2 seconds. Maybe 4 seconds at the most. He throws you off really fast. But it's really cool. I like this boss fight a lot more than the first one. This is more the energy that I was hoping to get from a creative ghost battle. It's hectic, it's cool, there's like lightning striking. It's neat. I like this one. As we move into Area 3, I do want to go ahead and throw out a spoiler warning, because I am going to go all the way through to the end of the game, so you have been warned. Something really kind of hit me when Area 3 began, and that's the importance of bathrooms and toilets to this game's story. So many bathrooms in this game contain keys, a portrait ghost, or a character to talk to, or a tutorial event. I noticed this when I went into the backyard of the mansion, which is the beginning of Area 3. There's a toad hiding out in an outhouse, and he tells you to check down inside the well. This made me think, man, bathrooms are really important to this game's story. You see, in this game, bathrooms move the plot forward. Are you serious? Like you... The big highlight to this area, though, is this well. We go down the well, and we get to see something really spooky. Well, found Mario. And King Boo. Uh-oh. So we're probably just over the halfway point, and we've already glimpsed into what's lurking for us in the ending. One of the portrait ghost encounters in Area 3 is one that I remember really solidly as a kid, having a lot of trouble with, and that's the twins. These little guys challenge you to a game of hide and seek. They each hide in a box. You're supposed to interact with the boxes that they're hiding in, and there's no margin for error. You screw it up and you get kicked out. As a kid, I tried to do this fair. I'd walk in the room and attempt to guess which two they're hiding in. And of course I failed a lot because, like, percentage-wise, there's a high margin for failure here. As an adult, I didn't even consider playing fair. I walked in and used the vacuum, and I was able to figure out which ones they're hiding in by using the vacuum to interact with them. And they accuse you of cheating, but they do that no matter what. So you're just like supposed to use the vacuum to cheat, basically. I never did that when I was younger. It's just like one of those things, like, you know, you're not as aware of what's going on in a game when you're really young, I guess. And as an adult, you have better perspective, so you're just like, okay, I know what to do immediately with the tools that I'm given. It's just one of those cool things about playing a game back then versus playing a game now. You just come in with more knowledge and cognitive awareness on what the game's mechanics will allow you to do with what it provides you. After making it up to the 3rd floor, which is an attic, we find ourselves on the outer back balcony of the mansion, and this is where the 3rd boss fight occurs. The boss is called Boolossus, which is a large boo comprised of 15 individual boos. The objective is to get Boolossus to collide with the horn on these different unicorn statues that'll cause it to pop back into the original 15 individual boos. You can then use the ice element to freeze them individually and suck them all up. This boss fight's pretty fun, but it gets pretty frustrating towards the end. The less boos there are, the more they actively evade your ice spread. I had a very long standoff with the last couple. It was pretty frustrating, but with enough perseverance we captured the last one, and there goes the 3rd boss. Defeating Boolossus gives us the next boss key. This one unlocks a door on the balcony, which gives us access to the other half of the attic. But when you go to open it, lightning strikes the mansion and it causes a power outage. So now, all the lights are off, even in the rooms that you've already cleared. Ghost spawn rates significantly increase. This is my favorite part of the game now. This is the only part where it feels like really challenging. There's so many ghosts to deal with that the odds are really stacked against you. But with, enough skill and determination, you can still conquer rooms. But even if you catch all the ghosts that spawn, the lights won't come back on. So it's just a gauntlet to go through. The objective here is to get to the basement and flip the breaker back on to restore power. That door is locked, though. You have to find a certain portrait ghost that only appears during this power outage that'll reward you with the key. This also provides you a unique opportunity to find certain treasure ghosts that don't appear otherwise. They only appear during this power outage. Getting to them, though, is tough because, again, the ghosts are spawning more frequently, they're more aggressive, there's more of them. So it makes it pretty fun. So it's like you're going for treasure now, but there's more risk, which is why I like it, though. It feels more rewarding now, even more rewarding than normal to get this treasure, and it's great. But we get ourselves the breaker key. Weirdly enough, there's no ghosts in the breaker room. You'd think that there'd be like one final challenge to overcome, but now you're good. Flip the power back on, and we're good to go. Now that we've resolved the power outage situation, we can move on to the game's final area, for real this time. Things are gonna start picking up with this, definitely. It's getting a lot harder. Can you? Oh, you menace! You just can't leave it alone. Okay. Now we're moving into the game's final area, which is a mixture of the attic and the basement. Things definitely are getting harder, and the boos have more HP. The thing that I don't like about the 4th area is that it's a mixture of the attic and the basement. Getting down to the basement isn't the issue because you can use the mirror fast travel thing, but you have to go back up a lot. And you go through like multiple floors and staircases. They're not connected. It's 2 different staircases. It's such a waste of my time.
What a question, Betty. What?
As we explore the attic and the basement, we wrap up the last of the game's objectives, catching portrait ghosts, catching the last of the boos, gradually working our way toward King Boo's lair that we saw earlier from the bottom of the well. But after enough messing around, it's time to take on the very last portrait ghost. So now we're up to the last portrait ghost, Vincent van Gogh. It's a dumb pun, by the way. Why isn't it ghoul? He's a ghost. Gore? What is he? Does he impale people? Probably not. It should have been Vincent van Gogh, is the point. But here we go. Vincent van Gogh is the only portrait ghost that really feels like some kind of boss encounter. It's implied that he's the ghost responsible for creating all of the lesser ghosts that you've been fighting throughout the whole game. And to defeat him, you have to take on multiple waves of those kinds of ghosts. They appear 3 at a time, and you gotta take them all out. It's not too difficult, really. They should have had more. If there were more ghosts per wave, it would be legitimately challenging, but the only time that this is ever hard is when it's these big blue bruiser ghosts that do the shock waves, only because they're the ones that fight you the most if you try to suck them up. But just defeat every wave, and we're good to go to catch Vincent himself. All right, that was the last portrait ghost. So that leaves only a single Boo left. Now, this is one of the Boos that has like 300 health, so this is probably going to take a while. Their HP drains pretty quick, but I'm sure with that much HP, he's going to want to transition between rooms. All right, here we go. Why isn't it? It doesn't even lock on sometimes, which is really annoying. Oh, I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him. Don't when he goes at the hallway again. Going in the hallways, it's such a waste. They don't even stay in the hallway for more than 2 seconds. So all that's happening is I go out in the hallway, he cackles at me, and then runs right back into the room. Go back into the room, try to catch him again. It won't lock on. I don't know what I'm doing wrong in that regard. Goes back out in the hallway again. Awesome. Cackles a bit. Goes back in the other room. Driving me insane. If he only had 50 health, it wouldn't be that bad, but they have 300 at this stage. It's just a war of attrition. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it, though. And we got him. Got him. Now that the last Boo is dealt with, we can beat the game. On to King Boo. Now that we have all the portrait ghosts and all the Boos, it's time for the final battle against King Boo to save Mario. King Boo hides himself down in the lowest point in the mansion. You have to meet a certain number of Boos captured to even challenge him. Not a problem for me though, because I've caught them all now. But now we can engage the final battle. The final battle against King Boo is probably the most difficult one in the game. King Boo summons a giant mechanical Bowser that he uses to throw big mine balls around the room. He also breathes fire and just charges toward you. And given that Luigi's agility is pretty limited in this game, it makes it kind of challenging. So you really have to position yourself the right way to avoid most of these attacks. What you have to do is suck up and throw back the giant mines that he throws to hit Bowser in the head, which causes the head to pop off. It'll fly around and still shoot at you. Be careful. King Boo will flutter out, and you can start to capture him. He has 500 health, so this is not something that you can do very quickly. It's gonna take like 3 phases or more to catch him. But just focus. Don't get too relaxed, because you can get surprised pretty quick. Like I said, positioning is key with how this Bowser thing moves around. Don't get yourself cornered, but keep it going, and eventually we'll capture King Boo. And with that, King Boo defeated. You know, that was a lot easier than I remember it being. When I was a kid, I do recall it took me like 5+ attempts to beat this, but because I am in fact the best, got it taken care of and locked down. And now we can check out the ending. Mario has finally been rescued. The game ends with Egad turning the last of the portrait ghosts back into paintings, including King Boo. He also turns Mario back into his normal self again, effectively running him through the process of the painting transformation just in reverse, which again looks horrible and painful. Then we are given our last summary screen that shows us our final tally of treasure, and the game gives us a rating. Basically, Luigi gets to keep this money. It's not fake or anything. The mansion itself was, but the treasure's real. He gets to invest this in his own actual dream mansion, and the size of the mansion comes with a rating. So it tells you how much of the treasure you got, basically. I got a B, which isn't the best. Or maybe it is, B for best. I am the best. But I could have got a higher rating. I thought I did pretty good, though. With that said, I'm kind of surprised. So you really got to scrounge around for all the treasure possible if you want to get that highest rating, I guess. I'm surprised I didn't get a higher score, though. I went out of my way to collect as many of those treasure ghosts as possible. I know that I missed the watering plant thing. But hey, still beat the game. Not as hard as I remember it being. But yeah, you know, I'm the winner. I'm the winner. I beat your challenge. I'm the winner.
Barely.
Barely. It's easy. It's easy. Oh, are you leaving? Hold on. Oh, wait, hold on a second. It's been really weird. You did invade my home, so, you know, I hate you. But it's been fun. We've been through a lot, so, you know, after all that, here's wishing you a good time.
Better play a bit. That's all, folks.
Alright, goodbye. What is going on? At least it's over. Start getting things set back up. Oh, okay. Well, I guess the curse has been lifted. Well, this has been a weird night. Definitely fun to revisit Luigi's Mansion, though. Holds up really well. Definitely not perfect. There were a lot of annoyances in it. Like, I never really totally understood how you're supposed to catch the ghosts, at least like the absolutely intended way. I was just messing with the control like a maniac, and that seemed to work most of the time, but there were times where it didn't seem to work the best. So, wasn't totally sure, but it was still interesting. Never really liked having to go between the basement and the attic. There's a fast travel method to go down, but there should have been like, I don't know, like an elevator maybe to take you up. I mean, it is like a 4-story house. And it's, you know, it's got millions of dollars worth of stuff in it. You'd think that there'd be some kind of little basic elevator. Yeah. Only other real complaint is that it was too easy. It was a lot harder when I was a kid, but you know, I was a kid. I'm not good at video games when I was a kid. I struggled with like every game that I owned that was like this, at least at first. I remember getting stuck in this game in that storage room after the ballroom, where you had to press the button to release the booze. I got stuck there, and I put the game down for almost 2 years, and then I came back to it, and I ended up going through it. I still had trouble with certain boss fights, like the final one, but after coming back to it, I did a lot better. That was like 15 years ago. It's been a while, so there are certain things I remembered, certain things that I was like, I remember this. This is interesting. Yeah, held up really well. It has a great atmosphere. I like the way the story is presented, kind of how you piece it together as you go through the house. That's kind of cool. Reminds me of like Metroid Prime, where like the logbook scans kind of comprise the plot. You're finding it, it's not finding you, which is pretty neat. But yeah, all in all, I'd say it's pretty great. I definitely recommend checking it out if you're a Mario franchise fanatic. It's a cool diversion from the usual formula. And the cool thing is, you don't even need to necessarily hunt this one down. There's a new one that came out less than a year ago, Luigi's Mansion 3 for the Nintendo Switch. Plays pretty much the same. All the core mechanics are there, but obviously it's a newer game, so there's new stuff to be found in it. I haven't played it yet, but I've looked up a lot of gameplay videos of it. It looks pretty sweet. I'm waiting for a good deal to present itself with the Switch, but as soon as I get one, that's going to be one of the first games I get for sure. So, that does it for this video. It's been pretty fun going through my collection again, revisiting stuff. It's been really great. Who knows what the future holds? There are some more specific games I know I want to do in the near future, but I'm also going to start playing games that I haven't played before that are from that era. So like original Xbox, PS2, GameCube, N64, even further back. Stuff that I haven't played before that either I knew of as a kid but never got a chance to play, and now I finally own it, so it's like a first impression kind of thing. But I'm definitely going to do more revisits. I have some plans with that, definitely. And some more smart home videos, too. Check those out. I have a video on Logitech Harmony Elite programming, and I have a video on how to synchronize Hue lights to your Xbox or PlayStation 4, which is pretty sweet. So go ahead and check those out if you're interested in that kind of stuff. There's more coming down the pipeline in regard to those kind of videos too, because I'm a big smart home guy. I also really enjoy entertainment systems. I used to design home theater systems, so it's been a big passion of mine. I'll do videos on those as well. So definitely keep an eye out. There's going to be more coming for sure. But thank you for joining me here. I'll see you guys in the next video.